Rossmoor Community Service District meeting, our regular meeting for the month, Tuesday, June 11th, 2013. Let's do some roll call, please.
Director Coletta?
Here.
Director Casey?
Here.
Director Kaler?
Here.
Director Rips?
Still here.
President Maynard?
Here. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today we have a presentation from AYSO Soccer by John Heron, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Please come on up.
Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate you extending the invitation. My name is John Heron. I'm the Regional Commissioner, therefore the Executive Member of AYSO 159. AYSO standing for the American Youth Soccer Organization. I see one of our great volunteers up here as I speak. I didn't realize, Jeff. A few things. 2014 will be the 50th anniversary of AYSO. I look forward to all of you watching your TV and watching the Rose Parade, because we're actually going to have a float. Nice. We'll be in conjunction with the city of Torrance, the birthplace of AYSO. It's their 100th anniversary, I believe, and it'll be our 50th. I've put my name in the hat. I'm hoping I get to ride on it, but I really doubt it. It's going to be young kids.
Maybe you could pull it.
Yeah, that might be. Or maybe be behind the horse. I'm pretty good at that. A little bit of background about AYSO is that we are the largest soccer club in the United States. We have about 600,000 kids in our program. Here in AYSO 159, we've got about 1,600 to 1,700, including a couple of coaches that come in from England and stay over at Jeff's house. So sometimes that gets us up to an extra, dozen that you manage to fit over there. In Southern California, we have about 100,000 kids, which is a phenomenal amount when you think about it. AYSO, all of us are volunteers. I'm a volunteer. I don't have a kid playing in the program. However, my son is a referee, and he also helps coaching. But just as well as he plays for the high school team, he plays on club teams, we do get along, believe it or not. We are sometimes the stepping point for these kids moving up, and oftentimes we're the ending point in their soccer career because our U19 boys and girls teams are phenomenally large. A lot of kids coming back from club and the high school teams coming back to play with us. Part of the program that I really like is that I do a lot of coach training, and when our coach training, we emphasize PI, which is positive, instructional, and encouraging. Something truly unique when you think about these other teams with how they participate. Also, our referees, we emphasize safe, fair, and fun. Something I think that's truly unique in youth sports. Right now, just so you guys know, is that our regular fee is about $120, which is a great value for the money. Our greatest expenses tend to be our field fees, our uniforms and equipment, and our national dues. I think a lot of you know about the new fee structure that came out of LAUSD, and I believe LaSalle will be agreeing upon it. We're fine with it. It's a 5-year program, and I think it's great. And just so you know, we think our RCSD, your fees are extremely competitive and good for us, and your group is phenomenal. In particular, Emily, Elizabeth, and Jessica, just a phenomenal group. I can call up and say, uh-oh, I forgot, and they get me in. As you know, we use Rush Auditorium for our referee training. I use the East Room for our coach training and use the field a little bit as well, and have no complaints. And let me tell you, I complain a lot. Okay. Let's just show a couple things if I could. Is this working? AYSO is pretty, well, can we go back one? I'm sorry.
Sure.
Sorry.
Went back 3 times.
AYSO does have a vision statement to provide world-class youth soccer programs and enrich children's lives. That's my mantra. You know, in other sports groups, that's the last thing they care about. They care about money. They care about winning and losing, not us. It's about enriching children's life. It's truly a unique program. If you'd change for me. We also have a mission statement. That mission statement is to develop and deliver quality youth soccer programs in a fun, family environment based on the AYSO philosophies. And here's our philosophy. Everyone plays, balanced teams, open registration, positive coaching, good sportsmanship, and player development. I'd like to touch base on a few, if you don't mind. Everyone plays. In Region 159, every kid who's put on a team plays 3/4 of a game. That's unheard of in any soccer program. Your kids are guaranteed 3/4 of a game to play. Open registration simply means that there's no boundaries. We don't care where the kids are coming from. We're really lucky here in that we have such big participation with our Rossmoor kids, our Los Al kids, and Seal Beach kids that the residency requirement put on us of 70% is easy to fulfill, even though we have lots of kids coming from Long Beach, Lakewood, Cerritos, Cypress, Hawaiian Gardens, Stanton. Also, player development. 4 years ago, we started a new program called Extra. It's sort of like having all-stars year-round. We started with 1 team, we're up to 10. On the section site, there's hundreds now. It's phenomenal. It's a year-round program, and it's the same price as what you pay for the region. The only difference is you have to buy a different uniform. So about for $200, $300, you're playing year-round, extremely quality soccer. Also, we have a new program. It's been around a while. It's called Pacific Soccer Club. We've gone from about 4 teams to over 50 in the last 3 years. Just really a great program. And something that I get giddy about, USSF, which is the United States Soccer Federation, 3 years ago went out to try to find the best coach and player development program there is. And what they ended up coming up with is, well, quite frankly, it's right here, AYSO's program. They spent millions of dollars and ended up going, this is the ticket. All they did is they've branded it with USSF on it. And their U4 to U12 program is our program. Just really a great pat on the back to AYSO. I wish I could take that credit, but I can't. A new program we've just started here. This was put together by Pete Carvajal. Some of you know that name. He's part of our section, which has about 100,000 kids, as I said, and he came up with a new program, and it's Play Soccer for Fun. And if you look at how this works out, it's play soccer for fun, play soccer for friends, play soccer for family, and play soccer for life. I have a 26-year-old. I coached from, well, up and down from U5, and I'm still friends with that group of people that I met. And I'm still friends with folks from my sons, obviously. And hopefully some of you will become my friends through this endeavor of AYSO Soccer. But thank you very much for allowing me to come and speak. If there's any questions or comments, I'd be happy to entertain anything.
Thanks for coming and thanks for sharing.
I do have to apologize that I do have to run because, believe it or not, my regional board meeting is tonight as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Take care, John.
Okay. I do not believe we have any additions to the agenda, gentlemen? No one? Okay.
Nope.
We're going to move now to our public forum. Any person may address the board of directors at this time upon any subject within the jurisdiction of the RCSD. However, any matter that requires action may be referred to staff at the discretion of the board for a report and action at a subsequent board meeting. If there's anyone who would like to approach, please do.
Good evening. I'm Bill Nelson. I'm a trustee with the Orange County Cemetery District. I'm also a director on California Special Districts Association, or CSDA. I'm up for re-election this year, and I'm here to ask for your vote tonight. CSDA is divided into regions throughout the state. We in Region 6 here, which encompasses Orange County, San Diego, Riverside, and Imperial County. Each region has 3 directors. One's elected each year for 3-year staggered terms. This year is my term to be reelected. I provided you with a flyer that provides my qualifications and experience, and I'd like you to consider it. And I will respectfully ask you to add this to your next agenda and cast your ballot for Bill Nelson. Also, the ballots came out last Friday. You should have them either today or tomorrow, and they're due back to CSD on August the 2nd. So you can consider this at your next board meeting. If there are any questions, I'd be glad to take them.
I have no questions.
No questions.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Sure, certainly.
Good evening. My name is Don Smith, and I am the neighborhood liaison for the Los Alamitos girls softball. And I wanted to give you guys a report on the tournament that we just held at Rossmoor Park. The tournament was very successful. Our teams did extremely well. I think our 8U, 10U, 12U, and 14U teams were all undefeated during pool play. And then when it came out to the actual tournament and playoffs, we did well. We didn't win it, but let me just take a look at this. Our 8U team was a runner-up, and they lost to Wags out of Simi Valley. Our 10U team made it to the semifinals. Our 12U team was a runner-up, and our 14U also made it to the semifinals. In regards to the season, so far how the girls are doing is we went to a tournament down in Rancho Penasquitos down in San Diego, and the 8U, both the red and the blue team did extremely well. The red team made it to the finals. They were the runner-ups, and the blue team were the champions of the tournament. And the 12U team, the red team, which is the gold level team, was the champion of the tournament, and the blue team was the runner-up. So, so far the girls are doing really well, and you know, if you guys have any questions about how the tournament went, I'm here to answer them.
Well, just congratulations on doing so well with all the local teams. That's very impressive to go as far as they did as a group.
And I'll tell you, the competition is the same powerhouses every year. My daughter didn't make the All-Star team last year, but she did this year, but she made it last year, so we were able as a family to participate in that. And you know, it's a big deal. I mean, we had teams from Chula Vista, Bonita Valley came up, and Simi Valley came down, and Yorba Linda and Placentia, and I believe San Pedro was also here. So it does draw from a wide range, and it's a high quality competition. So
I know in the past some of the other teams didn't know all the guidelines that the league had set up for times they can come into the parks and things like that. How did that go this year?
it went really well. As a matter of fact, what we did as a body governing the tournament is, you know, we have those red signs that we stick out. I don't know how many, but it seemed like on every corner and every opening there's a little red sign warning people, don't, you know, block driveways, don't, you know, be respectful, you know, pick up your trash, don't make any undue noise. And I think for the most part everyone was very well behaved.
Do you know if there were any issues from any of the community members that you know of that they had any concerns?
I don't believe so. I know that I was there on Saturday and walking around, I didn't see any. And Emily, you were there. Was there anything that you ran across?
Do you want to take a microphone?
Great, thank you.
She could sing.
The only cars that were double parked on Saturday seemed to be residents. I called the sheriff who transferred the issue to CHP, who came down and did knock on doors to find out who the owners were to those vehicles. And they did belong to homeowners or neighbors who didn't want the other neighbors to be ticketed.
So, but in terms of the league itself, we don't know of any concerns that were raised.
We just received one letter prior to the board meeting. I just opened the mail, but it was from a tennis patron, so.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there aren't any more public forum, we'll move on to reports to the board, which we do not have. So let's take it to Section E, our consent calendar. Does anyone have any minutes that they would like to bring forward?
Nothing.
Okay. Is this a roll call? No? Okay, motion?
Motion.
Is there a motion?
I motion that we accept the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay. Let's move to Section G, which is resolutions. We have resolution number 1306, 1101, approving and adopting the annual appropriations limit for FY 2013 through 2014.
Mr. President and members of the board, resolution number 13-0611-01 is for the district to approve and adopt the fiscal year 2013-2014 annual appropriations limit as required by district policy and the state of California. I recommend its approval by roll call vote, resolution 13-06-11-01, by reading the title only and waiving further reading as follows.
Director Coletta?
Aye.
Director Casey?
Aye.
Director Kaler?
Aye.
Director Rips?
Aye.
President Maynard?
Aye. I will sign that right now. Okay, let's get to our regular agenda tonight. First up is the FY 2013-2014 preliminary budget and annual salary plan.
Mr. President and members of the board, as you'll recall, at last month's meeting, staff presented a preliminary fiscal year 2013-2014 budget and annual salary plan. Recommendations from both the budget and CIP committees were incorporated. If you find this budget satisfactory, I recommend that the board makes a motion to set public hearing date to adopt final fiscal year 2013-2014 budget as at July 9th, 2013, which is our next meeting.
Okay.
I make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, moving on, let's do the second reading and possible adoption of policy number 3097, which is an email and electronic communications retention.
Yes, the date was set. At last month's meeting, the board conducted its first reading of policy number 3097, titled Email Communications and Retention. On June 6, 2013, the board attended a district iPad training workshop where they received comprehensive training on the iPad device. At that time, members signed policy number 3096, paperless agenda and tablet device use, and were issued district iPads. Members also received training relative to accessing district email on the iPad. It's been advised that the board implement a comprehensive set of policies to oversee the operations and management of electronic communications, and this policy does just that. I recommend that the board give a second reading by title only and adopt RCSD policy number 3097, email and electronic communications retention policy.
Okay, does anyone have any comments, discussion, or want to make a motion?
I just have one comment. As you read the document, there's a lot of words that have like spaces in the middle of them, and it has nothing to do with the content. The content is fine to me. It looks just right, but I'm not sure what causes that, because
I
it doesn't
believe
happen just once. It happens pretty much throughout the whole document.
I believe that's the conversion into a PDF document. I think it's just something with the program. It's like a little quirk, if you will.
Okay, because it
So-
was kind of haphazard.
Yeah.
You'd read 2 or 3 paragraphs.
Check in here and see if it's the same.
Yeah, the
I think it is. I actually did.
You
I
did?
looked at it in both.
Okay.
He's
This is
saying
the
it's
first
the
time I've
same.
seen it
Okay,
here.
we'll
so
make
it's-
the correction.
Yeah, it's
So it is both
identical
on
in
paper?
both.
Okay.
Right.
It's on the hard copy.
Yeah, both media are the same.
Well, it looks like it's right and left justified to me, and then that's why you're going to have spaces. So to me, that's style points. One way or the other, I personally don't care. To me, it's more about the content.
Oh, yeah.
I'll fix it, though, yeah.
Perfect.
If I can.
I make a motion that we accept policy number 3097.
I second.
All in favor of adoption policy number 3097, or email and electronic communications retention, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to section H3, which is a request for long-term usage. Actually, I'm going to move this back, if you guys don't mind. The person making the request is trying to get here. He's from LA, so I'd like to move this to the end, since he's, is everyone cool with that?
No
No objection?
Cool. That's
Okay,
fine.
so let's move to 4, and this is request for funding for the 4th of July fireworks spectacular at the Joint Forces Training Base.
Michael, is that the gentleman just walked?
Oh, he just,
Oh, I take that back. Let's move back to H3, request for long-term usage at Rush Park, East and West Room. So we'll start with our general manager, who will do your normal report, and then
Okay.
we'd like to ask the person requesting if they are here to approach us.
okay. Mr. President and members of the board, on May 23rd of this year, Mr. Brian Hunn with Gond Community Church submitted an application for use of the Rush Park Auditorium, East Room and West Room every Sunday from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. and every Friday night from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. beginning July 7th, 2013 through December 29th of this year. The group anticipates an approximate number of 50 attendees, 20 of those which are children, during each service. After December 29th, the organization may want to contract and/or obtain a permit to renew on an annual basis. The estimated annual permit fees to be generated from this group, if request is approved by the board, would be $26,432. Since currently Calvary Chapel uses the space from 7 a.m. to 12 on Sundays, Pastor John Greenroyd of Calvary Chapel was contacted to discuss the request. Pastor John said that the breakdown of their setup and departure of the group is currently completed by 12 p.m. and that there would not be an overlap of groups since service ends at 11:30 and they would no longer have to spend time with the breakdown. And Mr. Brian Hunn is here to answer any questions. And here he is.
Good evening, sirs. First of all, I thank you for giving me an opportunity to come over here and speak to you guys. Second of all, I apologize for my appearance. I wasn't planning on being down here, but when I found out today at work that you guys might have some concerns or questions, I wanted to come down here and answer those questions. Just to briefly explain our church, GOND stands for Go and Disciple Community Church. This was a church that was established about a year ago. We currently have a worship location at the border of Anaheim and Buena Park. Our church, we started out with about 10 people about a year ago. It has outgrown to about 45 to 50 members, 10 to 15 family members, mom and dad plus children. And we have outgrown that place. We're looking for a better place, and we are fortunate to have found the Rush Park, where we're planning on building a home for at least next couple of years.
So you plan on leaving the location, I think, is it what, Beach Boulevard and Ball Road?
Yes, sir, that's
You're
where it's at right
currently
now, sir.
located?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then you would be using the facility at Rush Park?
Yes,
As
sir.
opposed to that facility?
Say that again, sir?
As opposed to the beach and ball location?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Looking at your request, it says you currently have 50 members of your congregation right now.
Yes, sir.
So I'd say, looking at this room, even with partition, you have a lot of growing room.
We're planning on growing, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. My only concern is Fridays, having you have this big facility plus the 2 rooms. According to this report, there was a few times where big groups wanted it. Can you show some flexibility that, let's say, a Cub Scout group wanted to do their Pinewood Derby in here? Would you be flexible enough that if we gave you enough notice that you would move to one of our other facilities, still capable of handling 50 people, and even having some separation like the Montecito Center, where it's kind of like an L and have an outdoor? Could you be flexible?
Yes, sir. We are just thankful, very grateful for opportunity to come over here. You know, we're flexible. We understand as long as, like you just stated, give us time. We have no problem with that at all, sir.
Okay, because I'm comfortable moving forward if we have flexibility, we have the right language in our lease agreements.
Yeah.
Because obviously we welcome you to coming into Rossmoor, at least me personally.
Thank you.
We still have to take a vote on it, but my perspective is at least if there's flexibility that we all agree to, because this is a community center, and having every Friday night, if there's ever a big group over, call it 80, 90 people, this is all we have. And if we can share and work together, church and community and government, that's the best way to work.
Yes, sir. I agree with that 100%, sir.
Okay, that was my question. Any more, gentlemen?
No, I would make a motion to direct the general manager to approve a lease agreement. Lease has outlined for a 6-month period, beginning with July
Long-term use
7
permit. Yeah,
through December 29 of this year.
It's to approve a long-term use permit.
And permit as well.
My question to
Second.
the general manager, I'm sorry to interrupt, would be what organizations utilized the facility in the fall of 2000 between the July 1 and December 31st, 2012 period on those Friday nights?
In the past, it's been Calvary Church. They've had additional events.
Only on those Friday nights from July 1 to December 31st, 2012, covering this period we're talking about?
There were 4 events, and I did, yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, on Friday nights, it was only rented out 4 times.
Okay.
But again, from a capacity standpoint, this is our only building that can get over 100 people, if I'm speaking correctly, correct?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if all of a sudden cute little Cub Scouts or Eagle Scouts or anyone that a school wants to dance or something like that, he's showing that he's flexible, so.
Okay.
And that definitely, we have to have the right wording in whatever agreement we come up with.
Correct.
What, 30 days, 60 days, whatever
Right, okay.
everyone's comfortable with.
Okay.
So there was a motion without a second. Is anyone on a second?
Second.
Okay.
I just need some clarification, because you're saying long-term, but I'm reading
6 months.
basically, you know, from July to the end of December, and then it's going to be requested again at the end of December.
Perhaps.
But, so are we?
By definition in the policy, it'd be a long-term use permit.
Right, I understand that, but is this long-term use permit from the time period of July 7th through December 29th, and then it's going to be brought back to the board again to discuss again, or to evaluate if it's working for the community or not, or is it just going to be operationally just renewed?
Yes, the policy has a number of hours. If policy 6020 states that user permits which exceed 4 days in each month and 4 hours in each day require board approval, and that's why it was brought to the board.
So again, if it's going to be renewed after December, it's going to be brought back to the board for approval?
Yes, per our policy, we would have to do that.
We don't do that with Calvary Church, though, do we? Or
Because
Calvary
it doesn't
Chapel?
exceed that limit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Does
So
that,
it has to exceed both 4 days and 4 hours? Is that what I'm reading correctly?
Yes.
In any 30-day period?
Either has, I guess it's, if I'm reading this
6 and
correctly,
12 months?
has to exceed 4 days in a month and 4 hours in each day. Is that, just trying to understand.
Long-term use is limited to between 6 and 12 months. User requests which do not exceed 4 days in each month and 4 hours in each day may be authorized by the general manager. That's the language of the policy.
Okay, so if this group were to only request a Sunday permit,
It wouldn't have to come to the board.
it would never come
If
back to
it's-
the board. If it was
It was just
Sunday
for
and
Sunday,
one Friday.
and it didn't exceed 4 hours a day. That's correct.
Oh, and not to exceed 4 hours a day?
Yes.
Okay.
then I could approve it per the policy.
I just want to just share one concern. I think it's great to have our facilities utilized a lot, and I think it would be wonderful to have you as part of our community. Even though it's not being utilized that often, it looks like it's 11 times in, I guess in the certain period of time. I'm totally not clear about that, but to have this facility locked up from, I guess, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. every Sunday. I like the fact that people are using it, and I like the fact that there's some revenue coming into the community. I think that's great. I'm not, it doesn't feel good about having it locked up. And also, it just doesn't feel good about having it locked up every single Sunday. And I understand you're talking about having some flexibility with the Friday nights or whatever, but here we are saying we're not open, right? 2 church groups are going to be able to use this facility, and we're not open for a family that might have a family party or something like that. I mean, they're going to have to make some changes, and that part is just, it doesn't seem to me that's what we wanted the facility for.
Just based on my research of the past permits, it seems that usually the family parties are scheduled on Saturdays, and that there still is room there for reservations. They're not booked.
Well, I mean, you wrote, it's here, it says, the auditorium was rented 11 times during that time period, and 4 times on Fridays. So, I mean, there are times it's utilized.
Right.
And so we're basically saying that we're not going to have that. We're just closing it off to that, because even though I appreciate the fact that you're saying we'll be flexible, you're going to be flexible to a point. I mean, 11 times, in a certain amount of time is not, that becomes challenging for your organization. So it's just, that part of it is a little bit concerning for me.
If I may say so, we want to be part of the community. I mean, the community needs it. We're willing to work with this, sir.
How many residents of Rossmoor are currently part of your church?
I don't think we have anybody from Rossmoor. I reside out in Huntington Beach, and we have some people that live in the surrounding areas, Cypress, Buena Park, up in that area.
I think the solution is to give consideration the following fiscal year to remodeling Montecito so that it becomes available for more users. I'm not real impressed that there's a long line of people that want to use our facilities, so I don't think that sways me this evening. But I think it's an impetus for us to consider, after we fix the playground here at Rush Park, to setting our resources to addressing Montecito so that it isn't just available for a daycare center, but it is more friendly to all users.
It would, I agree, and with an investment in there, make it more open. But I still think you're going to have a footprint that's defined of how many people can be in that building. So I'm not sure if we can ever get another facility over 100 people. I'm not an expert, but.
Well, that's I don't know that anyone has that definitive information this evening, but there has been, and there will continue to be discussion as to when Montecito would be refurbished and to what extent.
Mm-hmm.
So I still think that's a facility that I'm sure would be available for this gentleman and his church if they needed to move because of a competing interest on a Sunday, such as a Boy Scout troop, or I should say Friday night, a Boy Scout troop, which would be a once-a-year thing.
Agreed. Any more comments, questions? Okay, so I believe we had a motion. Did we have a second on that?
Yes.
Okay, we'll put it up for a vote. All in favor of allowing our general manager to proceed with a permit and agreement with the church, please say aye.
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 Oppose?
Opposed?
We have it 4-1. Well,
Mr. President, can you clarify who made the second motion?
second was our Director Kaler.
Thank you.
And welcome to Rossmoor.
Thank you very much,
We
sir.
look forward to having you in here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Moving on to H5.
That would be H4.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Thank you. Let's go to 4, which is a request for funding for the 4th of July fireworks spectacular at the Joint Force Training Base.
Mr. President and member of the boards, since 2008, the RCSD has contributed funding to this event along with the cities of Los Alamitos, Cypress, Seal Beach, and the Joint Forces Training Base, and various private sponsors as well. The community of Rossmoor has viewed this event as beneficial in that it provides the public with an affordable, convenient venue to view fireworks on the 4th of July, and some may be able to view the display from their own backyards. The current year request is for $6,200, and a proposed budget and prior actual data for the event was provided. The current 2013-2014 RCSD budget includes a line item for this amount. Furthermore, if the board approves the current contribution, the RCSD will receive hosting agency status, which includes speaking rights and publicity. I recommend that a motion be made to authorize myself to contribute funds on behalf of RCSD in the amount of $6,200 to the 4th of July fireworks spectacular event at the JFTB.
I would make that motion, General Manager, for you to contribute the amount requested.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
I've got a question on that.
Okay, we have a question.
What exactly, how are they going to promote Rossmoor? I'm curious about that.
They will provide us with a booth, and I will be sending out more information to the board in regards to that, and also a request for someone to be at that booth.
Now, on their marketing collateral, where do we
Actually,
fit?
we're already on the poster. There's Seal Beach, Cypress, Rossmoor, it's included.
Seal Beach gives...
And also we have...
Seal Beach
actually,
gives more than Rossmoor?
Excuse me?
Beach donates more than Rossmoor?
Do we have a sample of the, let's...
$8,000.
They're all the same type. Let's see. Same size print. Thank you, Emily.
Clear.
Sure. Thank you.
I think Cypress looks like they get recreation, probably sports. Okay.
So this is, let's see.
They give their sponsors.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
the
in the past,
private sponsors, they give them.
Hasn't Cypress been involved in the past too?
Yes.
Yes, they have.
But they're not this year.
Yeah, they are.
Well, they're not under revenue. On page 98 of 108.
If you scroll up, if you look at City of Cypress personnel, I think it looks like they're giving public works people. And
Oh,
police.
okay.
See that?
Okay, so they're giving sweat equity and personnel versus cash.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It seems to me that that last year we had some restrictions in terms of the amount of space we were allocated for like a booth that we usually get as part of the cordoned off area for all the different cities, and in our case, the unincorporated area. Am I mistaken in that?
Emily?
Hi. If you recall, the base is under construction. So for the 2011 and 2012 events, there were issues with the VIP area being located in the grass area near the federal credit union that's there, and space was very limited there due to the construction. So this year what they're proposing is they're moving the entire event to the tarmac, which would allow for better parking. You don't have to walk as far from where you park to the actual event. VIP parking will be right there. The main stage will be right there. So the entire event is going to be moved to the tarmac, which is opening up space for more booths. This is something that the city of Los Al and Cypress has tried to do with the JFTB for several years now. And due to the construction, they felt that this year was the best year to begin that option.
All right, so this is the new and improved.
New and improved.
All right. Very nice. Thank you.
Any more questions or comments before we take a vote? Because we have a motion by Director over here. We have a second by one of you. Who's second?
By somebody over here.
Over here somewhere, whatever. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Okay. Now we will move to H5. Notice of board vacancy.
Say it ain't so, Joe. Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. President, member of the boards, unfortunately, Director Jeffrey Ripps has submitted a letter of resignation of his board seat effective July 12th, 2013. Board policy number 4040 governs the filling of said vacancy. The board must determine the method for filling the vacancy either by appointment or calling for a special election within 60 days of receiving the letter of resignation. Should the board choose to fill the vacancy by appointment, a notice of vacancy shall be posted at least 15 days before the appointment is made at a subsequent board meeting. Should the board choose to fill the vacancy by special election, the general manager is to notify the registrar of voters within 60 days of the resignation date. If appointment is made, the registrar of voters is to be noted within 15 days. I recommend that you receive and accept the resignation letter of Director Jeffrey Ripps and give direction for filling the board vacancy by either appointment or by calling a special election. I'd also like to mention that if an appointment is not made within that 60-day window, then the Orange County Board of Supervisors may appoint someone on our behalf.
Well, let me run to the table and suggest we go for the option of the appointment for several reasons. One, time is of the essence. Secondly, to save the costs associated with a special election. And thirdly, to avoid any outside interference with the interests that are best at heart for Rossmoor.
And the appointment would be to fill the unexpired term. Which
well, doesn't that go without saying?
Yes, but just to, you know, it's for quite a period of time since he was reelected just in 2012.
But I wish there weren't so, but I wish you well.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you'll be here next month?
Yes.
Okay.
Where's the time frame in here for him to change his mind? Is that part of this?
Anytime.
I don't see that on here.
Anytime.
Okay.
So after we're done.
Nobody objected to her recommending that you accept my resignation. I'm a little bit upset about it.
Jeffrey, it's not too late.
Yeah. And Jeffrey, once
If we had any choice.
Can I ask, let me ask another question.
Okay.
If on August 2nd or July 30th, we decide upon a candidate, why does it take until August 13 to appoint the new director? Is that the next board meeting, or what's significant about that date?
You know, that's really, truly up to for discussion.
May I suggest, General Manager, we allow Mr. Tabaoda to shed some light on this since we've been through this process?
That's true.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll be as successful this time as it was last time.
Yeah.
Mr. President, members of the board, from my personal comment, I really am sad to see Director Ripps leave, but we've had a good run, and I look forward to the reseating of that board seat. With regard to the proposed calendar, that calendar was prepared based on our previous experience when the board recruited for the vacancy of Director Huff, filled by now Director Maynard. All that calendar does for you is give you the greatest amount of flexibility in when you appoint a director, assuming you're going to appoint. And the resignation date is timed so that you have an opportunity to swear in a new director up until the September board meeting. That doesn't mean that you have to go that far. It just means that you have that flexibility. When we went through the recruitment process to fill Director Maynard's seat, there was a lot of logistical issues that arose with the availability of board members to meet at a certain time. You had a number of candidates to go through. It was a lengthy interview process, and so we basically giving you the maximum opportunity to appoint. You can appoint at a special meeting, you can appoint at a board meeting, but you normally would swear in a board member at a board meeting, but it's not required.
So can we expedite? Expedite, thank you. A little tongue-tied. This because on one end, he's been very gracious of giving us extra time. Yeah. So I would like to, if legal and if appropriate, start the process quicker, but we still have the same shot clock of September, October, what have you. Because he has put in his notice, I would like to at least put out the announcement so people in the community can give it time to think if they want to put their name in the hat.
Well, Director, President Maynard, we have prepared a press release to be released after this meeting, announcing the resignation. The notice of vacancy, the date on that can be changed depending on what the board feels is an adequate time for the public hearing to select a new member. We can begin the recruitment process almost immediately. But it cannot take effect, of course, until after July.
Of course, but we can at least start the process.
Yes, absolutely.
Have people, again, this just for people who are listening, this is a great opportunity. I myself am sitting here because of a similar circumstance, but it does take time. Something, if you want to consider, talk to your family, talk to your friends, give it a lot of thought. And I would like to at least thank you for having the PR release out there quickly, so people can actually, be thoughtful about whether or not they should consider this position. And I would also like to move this up so we have the seamless transition.
Yeah.
So we can always remain 5 strong as a board. Yeah. So if there is a motion out there, I would hope that someone would obviously, let's do an appointment, let's expedite and start recruitment, or if that's the right term, at least all the postings, especially before summer starts. I mean, we're right on the edge of summer, so I think time is of essence.
I would just like to mention that this proposed calendar does have a deadline for the receiving of applications, but of July 26th. So I think in the motion that
I would like to move that up personally.
Okay, that just needs to be addressed.
If you change the calendar, then you would make a motion to adopt a calendar subject to further discretion based on conditions as they arise. But at least that gives staff a blueprint for how to proceed with this. But you can change any part of that you wish.
Well, let me ask a point of clarification.
It's the last page, if you...
Point of clarification. The day after July 12, being July 13th, a Wednesday, technically, could that be the cutoff for prospective applicants to submit their resume, and then as well commence a schedule for interviews, or how are we proposing the schedule to be?
July 12th is actually a Friday.
Why do we need to wait a month?
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Why do we need a month?
I misunderstood. I'm asking for clarification. I assumed that the process of interviews would not take place until after the July board meeting, which is what date? I don't know. July. Someone know?
July 12th.
July 9th. July 9th is a board meeting.
Okay.
And
okay, so I guess the question is, do we have to wait until he's officially resigned until we start accepting applications?
No.
That's what
but we have to wait until then to appoint someone.
Okay, so why would we take a month to accept applications?
No, that's the deadline. It's a deadline.
You're cut. I mean, I don't know.
Jeffrey, you're in a few minutes, you're going to become a temp, okay?
Now,
just give me the iPad.
I guess we could move the date, the deadline.
Well, what's appropriate? If once we do a posting, is 2 weeks enough time for people to think about it? 3 weeks? If we post it tomorrow, which is the 13th, do we give them until the 12th, thank you, and we give them until the 28th? Is that are we moving too fast, or do we call it July 5th to submit? And then we've got weeks to review resumes, set up schedules for a public interview session.
I think if my opinion is if anybody's going to throw their name in the hat. 2 weeks is plenty enough time to get this figured out
It would seem so.
for them. Although, I mean, what is an extra week going to do? I mean,
The one limitation that you have to consider is that if the resignation is not effective until that July 12th,
yeah.
you would, and if you wanted to conduct interviews, that would be a special board meeting. And you would have to exclude Director Rips from attending a special board meeting.
Agreed.
Because he cannot participate in that process.
Really wouldn't be an issue. We wouldn't have to do too much to exclude me, it's really.
No, but the point is, as a sitting director, though, you
understand.
would have to be excused from that
I
process.
might be busy at work that night.
You think?
Pardon?
Okay, so,
I'll ask the general manager, Ms. Montana,
yes.
can you come up with a schedule, propose something real quick here, rather than us 5 people throwing ideas at you?
Okay, it seems to me what the board is asking is to move everything up. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct, that's right.
So, if we, I guess what we could do, we could move up the deadline for applications from July 26th to July 19th.
All right, then what?
No, I'd like to make a recommendation, if you don't mind.
Put it on the table, Bill.
That we accept applications until June 28th. That gives the district time to process, because that next week is the week of the 4th. People are on vacation. People are taking days off. The 4th is a Thursday.
Does it give the public, though, enough time?
2 weeks?
But, look,
Go ahead.
let me interject here. This is the first opportunity that the public is aware that this is going on.
Okay.
We will release a press release that probably won't be published until a week from tomorrow, at the earliest. So that's the first time you'll have a real public notice, except for those people who listen into these board meetings and get it that way.
Well, I respectfully disagree. It takes a week to get a press release announced. If you use PR Web, it'll go out inside of like 12 hours. So I don't know what press service that we're like using for press.
No, they're
press
saying the
releases.
publication. You send out the press release, the little local rags we get, probably shouldn't say that, but the local publications we get,
Physical.
they show up physically, it's not going to be printed
That's not my
until
word.
next Tuesday.
That's not my word.
So
I'm totally,
And then
I'm not talking
people actually read papers.
This is paper.
Not that many.
about, I don't know. what-
So again, I think as Alfred says, what do we think is the best practice here? What is the best timing?
I think you need at least 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
In order to get the notices out to the broader public, because you don't want someone coming and saying, well, I didn't get a notice, or I didn't hear about it, and
Yeah, we want to be above
true.
board. on
Ms.
all of this.
Montana, if we go back to your suggestion of July 19th being the cutoff date to receive applicants' resumes, their interest letter, whatever they were submitting in writing, why couldn't we commence interviews somewhere between July 26th and a week prior to the board meeting? I mean, we may get 10 applicants, we may get just 5, but from my recollection, we did this process, if my memory serves me correct, in one special meeting where we at least agreed upon a person that was appointed at the next regular board meeting. So that would mean for your August regular board meeting, you could appoint the
correct.
person and they would sit and roll with the first meeting being that evening.
Well, I'm a little concerned about timing just based on vacations in July
Okay.
myself.
Okay?
I'm thinking that if we had till July 5th, that literally is 1, 2, 3.5 weeks. That's ample notice. Once those are in, obviously, the staff will do some, I don't want to call it screening, but the obvious, we have to make sure they're a resident and that they vote and are registered to vote. Those are the only 2 real requirements. And then we can schedule when it works with people's time, but at least have that pool identified. Because then the hard part is going to be scheduling. I personally will be taking time off in July myself, not at the board meeting, but immediately after, so. And I'm sure Director Casey likes to vacation a lot as well, so.
Oh, yeah.
if you look at
The more the
this,
better.
if you look at the schedule and what Director Coletta just mentioned, The schedule does call for the first opportunity for board to appoint a new director at your August board meeting. So everything behind that is simply processed to get to that point.
Correct.
Okay.
So the August board meeting is the 6th or the 13th?
13th.
13th. So you're saying we could have interviews the week of the 5th, perhaps?
Well, but you still are not going to swear in somebody at your earliest opportunity is your August board meeting unless you do it at a special meeting. And that's really not.
That's not the way to bring someone in.
No, you would swear somebody in theory, on the 13th.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes.
So to my point, you could in theory have a special meeting on sometime the week of the 5th to do interviews.
Well, you've got two opportunities here, July
Or the
30th and
29th.
August 2nd. If you
Right.
want to use those two dates or change those two dates, you've got two opportunities there for a special meeting to go through the interview and selection process.
I would not be able to attend June 30th or July 30th and August 2nd, but I can meet before the 30th of July or after August 5th.
I could meet up until the 17th of July, then I go light until August 1st.
So let's do so everybody's available the week of the 5th then?
Right.
July 5th?
I mean, that week.
Yes, absolutely.
5th is fine.
I'm a little busy.
Yeah, it's enough already.
As well, you
So
should
how
be.
how long would staff need to process resumes, line up candidates to interview?
It really depends on how many applications we receive and resumes.
Let's say we receive 10.
If
I don't know.
If you recall,
Yeah.
when the deadline was reached for accepting the resumes, we then submitted a questionnaire back to them.
Right.
So that they could respond to, have a list of questions that they would be asked, and you'd have
Right.
an opportunity to interview them based on that list of questions.
Right.
So that's a back and forth between, say, 10 people last time. And then we had a special meeting we canceled because of logistical issues with
Yeah.
scheduling the board. And that's why this calendar was
Right.
laid out,
For
so that you'd have
flexibility.
maximum flexibility. That's
Right.
really all it was intended to do.
Okay.
And summer vacations.
Yep.
They have schedules too.
The goal here really
Okay,
is.
sure.
Saying the meeting's on the 30th.
Well,
but
I
you're
think
gonna-
the advantage we have here, Ms. Montana, is Mr. Tabaoda is still available to assist. We've been through this process before, at least one time before. The same types of questions just would need to be refreshed. And we're not recreating the wheel. So I think the real urgency here is the immediacy of getting this notice on our
Right,
webpage.
right.
Any other thing, OC Breeze, that doesn't take a week to get something on the OC Breeze. And the two local papers, the News Enterprise and the Sun,
And posting
can
on our
publish
boards.
a week from tomorrow and Thursday.
And we'll post on our boards immediately as well.
So I think we can give the requisite notice.
Right, and that's 15 days. That's, you have to have it posted 15 days before an actual appointment, so we can get that going.
So are we making a motion now to adopt or to, where?
The motion is to accept Mr. Rip's resignation, number one, then set up a directive to the general manager to set the notice out immediately and to set up
I'm sorry, Director.
and set up an outline for meetings.
Okay, so that's that second part of that motion.
You can make it 3-part, you can make it 5 parts, you can make it 1 part, however you like to do it.
Wow.
Go for it.
You need a motion to accept the resignation, a motion to decide on the appointment option, and then a third motion on changes to the proposed calendar.
Okay, let's just do 3 separate ones. Does anyone have a motion to accept Director Rip's resignation?
Nope.
I think symbolically, no one
All right, I'll
wants to
make
make
the
the motion. And I'm not seconding it, so,
I will make the motion to accept his, whatever he's accepting.
his resignation.
Yes, his resignation.
Sorry, it's painful even to say, okay.
It is.
Is there a second?
There's a second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose?
Nay.
Okay, we have 1 nay. Okay, number 2.
Abstain.
Is there a motion that we do an appointment?
Yes.
Okay, is there?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor of an appointment? say aye.
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 Okay. Now we're at the third of what is the outline timeline of events. Anyone?
I would propose the interviews take place somewhere between the week of July 5th and July 12th.
Okay.
Did you hear that?
No, sorry.
I propose the interviews take place somewhere between July 5 and July 12th, 2013.
What if there's okay.
What's your question?
If things have to change, we'll change it.
Okay,
But
we'll
at this
change
point
it.
in time,
Okay.
that's what I'm throwing
Okay.
out
I'm
there.
seconding it.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now, I have a question. That means that after we do the interviews,
By the 12th.
this is including any follow-up questions that, because I think we're following the same format as we did previously when we accept all the applications, and then we send out a questionnaire for these people to respond. So that'll all be done before.
They'll respond to those questions in public at your interview process. It's not for them to write them up and submit them. It's for them to be prepared to answer those questions.
Okay, so they will be given that information when they submit their applications.
Soon thereafter,
Okay.
once we close the deadline for receiving applications.
Okay, I'm clear on that. That's good. They have enough time to respond then when we interview them.
Well, my only need is that we just don't get into a point where the County Board of Supervisors appoints our board member for us.
Right. And
That's
that's
like my end goal.
Doom day, what day would that be?
that's September 10th. That
Yeah,
would be
so-
the-
That's not going to happen.
No.
Well, I mean,
No.
whatever happens prior to that,
Right.
that's my main goal. I just don't, I want to
Right.
control our own process. So if you, whatever this schedule needs to go be, so that doesn't
Right.
happen,
We know what we need to do. We're going to
flexible
get the notice of vacancy out there and continue with the process so that we
Yeah.
can have an appointment of a qualified candidate.
Okay, thank you.
Does that cover this topic?
I think are we,
I think so.
Yes.
okay. Moving on to,
You need a vote
we need a vote on this?
on that motion?
Okay. All in favor of said motion, please say aye.
Please review the motion.
Review the motion.
The special meeting would be somewhere between July 5 through July 12th, the year 2013, to interview the candidates.
There you go. All in favor, say aye.
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 Nay.
So we have 3 yeses, 1 nay, and
I abstained.
an abstention. Okay. Now brings us to general manager items.
There have been some recent resident complaints about graffiti in some public areas, and I'd just like to remind the public, if they see graffiti, to please call the graffiti hotline. The phone number is 714-834-3400. I'd also like to remind the public that we have our summertime events coming up, and we have movies June 21st, Madagascar, and we're having, of course, Shakespeare in the Park, July 6th, and the Elm Street Band will be performing July 12th. And those are the first of our events. Also, I'd like to thank the Rossmoor Homeowners Association for their contribution of Tiles for Tot lots proceeds in the amount of $3,721 to help us with the renovation of the Rush Park Tot lot. And that's it.
Okay, board items.
Can we have clarification on the phone number that you published here a moment ago? Where is that phone number at, in Orange County?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
And if there are graffitis such as on public sidewalks that are not within the County of Orange, but say the City of Los Alamitos, would they be amenable to removing graffiti on the sidewalks parallel to our wall on Catella? Have we explored that?
No, we have not. I can look into that.
Okay, because there is graffiti on the sidewalk by the same tagger in the same color paint
Okay.
on the sidewalk adjacent to, perpendicular to the wall on Catella. as well as in a different color for those that like diversity on the glass cage around the bus stop, same tagger.
Okay.
So that would be OCTA, if not Orange County itself. But I would just wanted to echo that the best thing we could do, in my view, not really expensive, is to permit the vines to grow over the wall. That eliminates the possibility of future taggers, but that takes years for the vines to grow over. But there are a number of resources that are available that point to that as an option. It's not an exclusive option, short of, of course, surveillance that's vigilant, takes a lot of man hours, or persons to try to catch the person. But vines, growth over the wall, seems to eliminate the desire to paint.
So that's what it takes.
Anyway, I thank the staff for taking on that additional task of vetting that out and seeking other communities such as Los Alamitos to assist with sandblasting the sidewalk and removing the graffiti.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Casey?
I want to thank our administrative assistant, Liz Deering, for doing an excellent job of providing our recent iPad training. And I found that your help and guidance to be even, maybe I shouldn't say this, even more beneficial than our IT technician from Brea. So
thank you.
Maybe it was because I didn't interface with him as much, but
He was a great
your
help
tips
to me,
and
though.
suggestions were more valuable.
Thank you.
And the other thing, it's come to my attention that the Apple iPad is virtually free of all viruses and malware. And I believe that should be very beneficial to us, that in our RCSD and our community, in assuring us that we have a very secure environment to work in. Because I think PCs are very vulnerable to spyware, malware, and viruses. And Apple has done a great job with their apps and PDFs or whatever that they have to monitor, and ensuring that it's a very clean environment. So I also appreciate that. And that's all I have.
Director Rips?
I just want to say, again, also echo that these are great, and I'm a little disappointed that something I've wanted for so long we finally get, and I'm about to step down, but they're great. So thank you for all your hard work in getting this done. I do want to say that I think on our website, in the About Us page, there's still a picture of then President Coletta, stating that he's the president. So I'm just noticing it now as I'm looking here. So it's a great picture, by the way.
It is. I'll give you one to sign an autograph so you can put in your office with your promotion.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
To remind you.
Thank you. I'll have more comments next month. Many more.
So.
Director Kaler?
Thanks for the warning.
Well, I just have three things. First of all, the iPad training is fantastic. Liz, you did a great job. Brea IT did a great job, and I'm so proud to be part of a district that is very green and is on the forefront of saving money and time and just appreciating our natural resources. And I think this is fantastic that we've actually taken this step forward and being a leader to show our children the best way to handle technology in the future. So that's fantastic. Emily, for those of you in the community that are not aware, the program starts off the 21st of June. I'm looking at it right now, which is I think it's Madagascar 3 is coming. It's a movie in the park. We have movies, concerts, Shakespeare this year. It's something new. So I'm pretty pumped about that. This is going to be fun, and hats off to Emily. This is your most armbitious foray yet. So I think this is fantastic. And I stopped by the Arco gas station on Catella, and if you haven't noticed, one of the first Rossmoor branding monuments is going in. I'm not sure if it's done, so that's pretty exciting.
Still waiting on the lettering.
Okay. Lastly, today is the 10th or 11th? I believe the high school graduation is in the next 2 days, so from Los Al High School. So please be aware and cognizant of all the recent high school grads and college grads and 8th grade promotions and 5th grade promotions and all that stuff. There's going to be a lot of activity in the next 4, 5, 6 days. So please just be careful. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I just want to comment that Bill is pumped on Shakespeare, quote unquote, I think is what he said. So you heard it here.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, he said he's pumped on Shakespeare, or punked for, not punked, but pumped. There we go.
Rumor has it he has a small part in the play.
Okay. I do have one thing that I want to discuss, gentlemen, and that's creation of a new ad hoc committee. Obviously, we saw, we've talked about this before, about we have limited capacity in our parks. We've seen how park neighborhood associations, softball leagues, churches. So I think it's important that it's beyond just one single issue, but we have to look at our facilities, look at our parks. So I am recommending and actually moving forward to establish a new committee from our board of directors. It's a sub-ad hoc committee. And somewhere on this page here is the name of it, but it is, where is it? Okay, I hereby want to appoint an ad hoc Parks and Facility Usage Committee. Currently, I'm going to appoint myself on that. And Jeffrey, until you step down, I would like you to be a part of that as well. Our meeting on the 20th with the park neighbors and the LAGSL is just one component. But I think since you were involved with that measure of understanding on your way out, that will help me out. And after your official day, I will announce who will take over on that seat with me. So on the 20th, please let all parties know that this is going to be an ad hoc committee. We're taking
posted in accordance with the Brown Act.
Yeah, one of the benefits here is this will make it more visible, more transparent, more time for all public comment to talk about softball, to talk about parks, to talk about buildings, which it should be. So we are taking all of the concerns that everyone has and we're stepping it up a notch. So please set that forward. And Jeffrey, I look forward to meeting with you as well as the softball league, as well as the park neighbors on the 20th of June. And that will be a public meeting, so everyone else is welcome to attend as well. So that's my items. So do we have a motion for adjournment?
So motion. Oh.
Well, one of you motion, one of you second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Meeting adjourned.